In the words of a very wise, unknown author, don't let people drive you crazy when you know it's in walking distance. I finally figured out that being in recovery from bipolar disorder was an important part of having bipolar disorder and living with bipolar disorder. I was already a few years into having my diagnosis. These days, recovery for me is more than just the act of seeing my psychiatrist or my therapist or taking my medications, but it's also understanding the triggers to the outside world. Every morning, I struggle to get out of bed. I'm so comfortable, so relaxed, so not ready to deal with the world. Eventually, I do climb out of my cocoon. Now, this is the most important moment of each day. This is the most important moment of each day in my recovery. This is when I decide how I'm feeling and what safety nets I need to put into place to get through each day. And there's no doubt that my walks are one of the key elements to getting through the stressors of the world. I go for my walk. There comes a point where I need to decide if I want to walk on the Paint Creek Trail or if I want to continue into the downtown Rochester. If I've had a chaotic day at work, the quiet of the trail is appealing. If I need to be around people in the hustle and bustle of life, I am drawn to the downtown. Sometimes I need the trail, but I walk in the downtown because it is more familiar and comfortable, even though it's not what's best for me. Recovery is much like that moment in my walk. Do I do what's best for me, or do I continue to fall in the trap of doing what's easy? Now, obviously, I can take a break from walking, but I really can't take a break from recovery. There are some days, though, where I cannot wait for my feet to hit the ground. I cannot wait to get out there, to feel the sun. Now, I should be wearing SPF 30 and wearing a hat and sunglasses, but I just enjoy that so much. And if it weren't for recovery, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it. I wouldn't have those days. I also wouldn't be able to stop at 5 miles. I'd probably walk 20 or 30 miles and walk the entire Paint Creek Trail. That's the beauty of recovery. The fact that I can enjoy all this in a controlled way. And on those days, I understand why recovery is so important. And I understand why it's necessary to follow my treatment plan and follow my recovery plan. Being out in the world, whether it's on the trail or in the city, makes me vulnerable to the stigma of mental illness in society. For example, one of the local restaurants I pass each day is called the Crazy Greek. Sometimes it bothers me and sometimes it doesn't. I always look inward and try to figure out why it gets me on certain days. I also pass one of the hospitals I've received treatment. This is also the hospital where I run a support group, so it has both good and painful memories. I get embarrassed sometimes when I remember being there. Stigma occurs in society and within us. Recovery isn't about rejecting these judgments. Recovery is about understanding them, understanding why I'm so hard on myself, and helping me be in society even when I see these images or phrases or read the news. Stigma is a huge barrier to recovery, but recovery can help us overcome the stigma and get past it and break down that barrier. Being in recovery means knowing that I'm going to be okay no matter what. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy 100% of the time. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be perfect 100% of the time. Recovery helps me to make the best decisions I can for my mental health and my physical health on a day-to-day basis. It helps put me in a position to make good decisions for myself. Having bipolar disorder is out of my control. There are many days where I wish I didn't have bipolar disorder, but recovery helps me accept it, it helps me make the best of it, and it helps me make great decisions for my everyday life.